A fundamental motor skill can be defined as common motor activities with specific observable patterns. Within this video, I will focus on the overarm throw, a fundamental motor skill utilised in many sports, for example the pitch in baseball, the javelin throw or the tennis serve.
The technique of the overarm throw on my dominant side is aligned to the steps of correct technique as stated in the Biomechanics of Overarm Throwing, an article by Deborah L. King. In comparison to these phases, my non-dominant technique includes many errors. To avoid any confusion before I begin my analysis, the video on the right is my preferred arm throw and the video on the left is my non-preferred arm throw. On the preferred side, the stance begins laterally, with feet about a shoulder width apart. On the non-preferred side, the stance is forward facing. This decreases the amount of power that can be produced. In both videos, you can see that the throwing arm reaches behind the head, while the non-throwing arm points towards the target, which aids in balance and accuracy. On both sides, the non-dominant leg lunges forward. This aids in stabilisation and force production. On my right side, my throwing arm extends far behind the body, elbow pointing down. On the left side, my throwing arm also points down, but the extension back is minimal, which limits the range of motion within the throw. Focusing on the preferred arm throw, the majority of force is produced by the arm acceleration and arm deceleration. The dominant arm extends powerfully, followed by a fast downward motion, while the trunk rotates. Focusing on the non-preferred arm throw, there is little power in the acceleration and deceleration of the throwing arm, and minimal rotation of trunk. This greatly decreases the power and accuracy of the throw. The follow-through on the right side shows the arm finishing across the body. On the left side there is no follow-through. The throwing arm stays in line with where it began.
An example of an activity to improve this fundamental motor skill is called left versus right. This involves the individual throwing as far as possible with their preferred hand, then attempting to match this distance with their non-preferred hand throw. The individual counts the number of throws it takes to reach this distance. In order for students to benefit the most from this drill, the teachers should encourage the individuals to explore ways to improve their non-preferred hand throwing distance.
The video on the left is my non-preferred hand before completing the drill left versus right, and the video on the right is my non-preferred hand after completing this drill. This drill was a very effective teaching tool as it encouraged me to consider the differences between my preferred and non-preferred throwing technique and how I could limit these differences. Here you can see that there is a noticeable difference in my stance, the right hand screen showing that I now stand side on. My throwing arm extends back far enough to gain a greater range of motion. My arm acceleration and deceleration are powerful while my trunk rotates effectively. I have also learnt to flow through to the opposite side of my body.